Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. Yes, Maker's Mark Cellar Age has finally hit the courtroom. Finally. All right. But before we get started, let's dive into some housekeeping. I have a couple things that are important. So, I actually experienced my first time, my first time ever. I did not stay out overnight, but a lot of people did. But my first ever major store release. So I was down in North Carolina. My patrons, of course, know this story, but I was down in North Carolina last weekend, visiting some college friends, and of course, an ABC store had a store opening. The line was wrapped around the building, thousands of people, absolutely crazy. I got there early, but obviously not early enough. And no, I did not sleep out or camp out overnight. Hence the reason why, after several hours of waiting, yours truly walked right out of there with empty hands. I walked out. I mean, it was crazy. I was tired, cold. It was just insane. And that line was just way too damn long. So let's just say the whiskey mania, it's all over, man. It is all over. Charlotte, North Carolina, as well as the rest of the US and the world as a whole. Next item is actually, so next week at this time, I'll be out in Ohio doing a barrel pick with Middle West Spirits, and then also 1792. So bringing some patrons along the way for both of those barrel picks. Should be a blast. I mean, gosh, Middle West Spirits plus 1792. Come on, that's like a win-win all day long for both of those distilleries. So really looking forward to those. Looking forward to hanging out with some of my patrons. And speaking of patrons, we're diving into this Maker's Mark Cellar Age. Obviously, I could not find a bottle. I looked all over. Store connections, everything. I just couldn't find a bottle. Not at secondary prices. I'm talking about at MSRP. I could find, of course, for $600-700, but for MSRP, I could not find a bottle. However, one of my good friends and a patron, my buddy Jim Matthews, he was like, "Hey Judge, I got a bottle at MSRP. If you want to get on the channel, I'll send you a sample." So Jim, shout out to you, my man. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into this. I've already poured it, by the way, and thanks, Jim. I love your labels, man. These are straight on. It's perfect. My man Jim is on point. All right, so what do we know about Maker's Mark Cellar Age? So everyone knows, obviously, just Makers as a brand. I mean, everyone knows about Makers. It's the wheated bourbon. They're the kings of the whole wheated bourbon. I mean, that's kind of the lane that they live in. But one thing, or one lane that they've always kind of removed themselves from, was from age-stated whiskeys, or whiskeys that they put out there that where they call out the fact that it's over 8, 9, 10 years. They don't typically do that. Most of Maker's products, for the most part, is aged anywhere from around 6 to 7, maybe 8 years for the most part. They never typically put anything out there. They never have greater than that age statement. So this is a brand new release. Just came out back in September. I'm getting to this nose real quick. Just came out back into September. Now, of course, it will be an annual release, but it's going to be an annual release where it's highly allocated. And hey, it is what it is from that perspective. But the Cellar Age is essentially a blend of 11 and 12-year-old bourbon. So 11 and 12-year-old bourbon. It's 87%. Goodness gracious, this is nice. This nose is just bringing me in. It's 87% 12-year and 13% 11-year-old. So it's mostly actually 12-year-old, which is pretty cool. And essentially what they're doing is, so they're doing something very unique. They're taking their standard Maker's Mark whiskey that ages in their rick houses for 6 years. Then they're taking all those barrels, and so forth, and then they're moving them for the next 5 to 6 years in their whiskey cellar. And their whiskey cellar is actually truly built in to the limestone hills in Kentucky. So they actually take it, they move it into this cooler area that's actually built into the limestone hills of Kentucky. So it's truly a cellar, a whiskey cellar, literally. Very unique concept. I do have to give them an A for creativity. I will say that. That's pretty damn cool. Oh my gosh. So what do we get on the nose here, Judge? This is just heavenly on the nose. Oh my gosh. This is such a it just kind of, it brings you in. It's just like a natural blend of obviously, because it's a blend of 11 and 12-year-old whiskey, mostly 12-year-old. You do get, some really good oak notes in the nose. The first thing that stands out, definitely some really good oak. It's a very soft, almost like a fruitier kind of a nose. Oh man, This is so nice. Goodness gracious. So nice. Some sweetness, like for some caramel, some baking spices. So it's like a caramel meets baking spices, meets oak, meets a little bit of fruit. This is really, really nice. I'm not gonna lie, honestly, nosing this, if I would have nosed this neat, not knowing what this is, no offense to makers, I never would have thought this was honestly a maker's product. This is flat out amazing. It's like a really good maker's product, but times like a million from a nose standpoint. Very unique, very different. But obviously that age, if you do it the right way, typically you can yield a really good product. Now that's just under the nose. We have not tasted this bad boy as of yet. Oh man, this is really nice. Very just, it's so well like balanced even in the nose. Jeez. MSRP $150. All right, let's dive into this bad boy. So $150, highly allocated, coming in at exactly 115.7 proof. The question is this worth the hype, or is it just another release that's out there that in many cases is overhyped? We shall see. All right, 3 quick easy favors. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, drop me a comment. Let me know what are your thoughts if you've tried Maker's Mark Cellar Age. And last but not least, please make sure you all subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get notification each and every time I release new content. Cool? All right, friends. Here we go. Cheers, and thanks again, my buddy Jim Matthews. Appreciate it. Ooh. Wow. Okay. Okay. Damn. Well then, let's go back to this one more time, just to make sure. Hold on. Wow. Oh man. That is very unique and interesting. Everything from the nose transfers to the palate. The one thing I love about a really good maker's product, especially in this, it's very creamy, very soft, and it's such a good blend of, like in this case, oak, baking spices, some very subtle, and I mean subtle, fruit notes with the caramel kind of all blended in very well. And the finish, it is long, it's bold, but not bold where it's like obsessive or excessive, I should say. It's long, it's bold, it's vibrant, and it's very rich and creamy as well. So makers, they do pride themselves in trying to actually create a very smooth tasting whiskey, which I know in many cases in the whiskey world, we hate using the word smooth, but that's actually something that they truly try to accomplish by obviously trying to remove a lot of those tannins and so forth. And they're doing that within their process. I would say, folks, at $150, you have to say, Judge, is this truly worth the hunt, either to buy a bottle or to even have a small sample at a bar? The verdict is in. Here is your verdict. No words needed. Damn. That is my verdict. It is damn good. Wow. Folks, this is one where even the judge, I don't own the bottle. I was fortunate my good friend Jim sent me a sample, and I'm thankful for that. I'm absolutely on the hunt for a bottle, so if I find it, I'm grabbing it at MSRP for sure. I would honestly even pay a little bit over MSRP, but don't tell makers that. Or any of the liquor stores out there as well. I probably would pay a little bit more, even like $175, $180. This is shit. Gosh. I'm lost for words. That's how good it is. Hey, until the next time, peace, cheers, and most important, salute. See ya.